You spent decades following the rules. You served, you worked, you built a life. And now, in retirement, the government wants to quietly take away rights you earned. What I'm about to share could be the most important thing you watch this year. Before we get into it, do me a quick favor right now. Hit that subscribe button below this video. Why? Because 90% of retired Americans have no idea these rights even exist. And by the end of this video, you'll be ahead of almost everyone you know. Don't miss what's coming. Subscribe now, then let's get into it. So let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Senior gun owners are one of the most overlooked groups in the entire conversation. Politicians talk about young people, they talk about crime statistics, they debate background checks, but almost nobody talks specifically about the rights of retired Americans. And that silence is costing people like you every single day. Here's what's really going on. As people age, systems start treating them differently. Insurance companies, banks, and yes, even the legal system. There are quiet assumptions made about older Americans and their ability to own firearms. Some of those assumptions are baked into law, others are enforced through policy, and a few of them are flat out unconstitutional. But if you don't know about them, you can't fight back. Today we're walking through 6 forgotten gun rights that retired Americans should know. Not tomorrow, not after the next election, right now. Because some of these rights have deadlines attached to them, and waiting could cost you everything. Let's start with the first one. The first forgotten right is your right to carry across state lines. It is more complicated than most people realize. Here's what most people think. They think their permit works everywhere, or they think it works nowhere outside their home state. Both are wrong. The truth sits somewhere in the middle, and rules shift by state. Here's why this matters for retired Americans specifically. Retirement means travel. You might be spending winters in Florida and summers in Montana. You might be driving across the country in an RV. You might be visiting grandchildren in 3 different states every single year. Every one of those trips puts you in a different legal environment. And the concealed carry laws in each state are not the same. Some states have what's called constitutional carry. That means any law-abiding citizen can carry without a permit at all. Other states have strict requirements and don't recognize permits from elsewhere. If you drive from a strict state into another strict state, your permit might be worthless the moment you cross the state line. Here's a hypothetical example. Imagine you're a retired veteran living in Virginia. You have a valid Virginia concealed carry permit and visit family in New York. The moment you enter New York with that loaded firearm, even legally stored, you're potentially breaking state law. New York doesn't recognize Virginia permits. And the penalties in New York are not small. We are talking felony charges. We are talking years in prison. All because you didn't know the rules. So what do you do before any trip? Look up reciprocity agreements. Not just your destination, every single state along the route. There are resources online that map this out. Use them every time. This is not a one-time project. Laws and reciprocity agreements change. What was true last year might not be true today. Now here's the part nobody's talking about. There is ongoing federal legislation. It would create a national concealed carry reciprocity standard. If it passes, your home state permit would be recognized everywhere. But it hasn't passed yet. Until it does, the patchwork is law. Stay subscribed because if that law moves, this channel will cover it. The second forgotten right involves your firearms and your estate plan. Did you know when you pass away, guns don't automatically transfer like cars? Federal law, the Gun Control Act, has rules about how guns change hands, even within families, even after death. If your estate isn't set up correctly, family members could accidentally become federal criminals by taking possession. That is not an exaggeration. This is a real legal risk. Most estate attorneys not specialized in firearms law completely miss this. Here's what people get wrong. They think being a family member is enough. Wrong. The transfer still has to comply with federal law. Certain firearms, especially under the National Firearms Act, have stricter rules. If you own NFA items, a gun trust is the smartest legal structure. A clear plan in estate documents protects your family from accidental crimes. The fix is straightforward. Talk to an attorney with firearms experience, not just any estate attorney. One who knows gun law specifically. Ask them how your firearms will transfer. Ask about gun trusts. Ask what happens if a family member in another state inherits your guns. These are not fun conversations, but they are necessary ones. Now, a quick legal note. This is educational info, not legal advice. Every situation is different and specific circumstances matter enormously. Always consult a qualified attorney for your situation before making decisions. If you're finding this helpful, wait until you hear what's coming next. Imagine getting updates like this regularly before the laws affect you. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss a video like this one. The next video covers the exact documents every gun owner needs at home. The third forgotten right is owning a firearm while taking certain medications. This is a very misunderstood area of gun law for older Americans. Seniors often fear that blood pressure or anxiety meds make them prohibited. The truth is, Taking prescription medication does not automatically make you prohibited. Federal prohibition applies to those adjudicated as mentally defective. That is a specific legal finding, not just a medical diagnosis. It also applies to people who have been involuntarily committed. Simply being prescribed medication does not trigger either of those categories. But it gets complicated because some states have additional prohibitions. Some states consider certain court-ordered treatments or voluntary commitments as disqualifying. Some states require medical providers to report conditions to state databases. Know your state's specific laws around mental health and firearms. Do not assume federal law and state law always agree. If unsure, a quick consultation with a firearms attorney is worth it. The fourth forgotten right is your right to self-defense in your home. Specifically how the Castle Doctrine protects retired Americans differently. Most gun owners know it means defending home without duty to retreat, but the details of how it applies vary dramatically by state. Retired people home during the day are statistically more likely to be present during invasions. Decisions you make in those seconds will be judged against state laws. Some states have strong protections and presume you had a reasonable fear. Other states require you to demonstrate your fear was reasonable. A handful of states still have duty to retreat requirements inside the home. Knowing exactly what your state's law says is not optional. This knowledge could mean the difference between innocence and prosecution. Only about 1 in 8 viewers watching right now is actually subscribed. That means most of you are at risk of missing updates. Join the tens of thousands of gun owners who get these updates first. The fifth forgotten right involves Social Security and your gun rights. A past rule proposal would have reported beneficiaries with representative payees. The logic was, if you need money management, you shouldn't own guns. That logic was challenged immediately. Finances and gun rights are separate. That rule was reversed, but the pressure to connect programs remains. Future administrations could revisit this. New rules could be proposed. If you receive federal benefits, stay informed about any policy changes. The sixth and final forgotten right is purchasing a gun without age discrimination. There is a minimum age to buy firearms, but no maximum age. Seniors face informal discrimination at gun stores or pressure from family. You have the right to purchase guns as long as you aren't prohibited. Age alone does not make you prohibited. Cognitive decline is a medical matter. Your rights do not automatically expire when you retire. If your ability to handle a firearm changes, have an honest conversation. The decision should be yours based on real assessment, not pressure. Older Americans' constitutional rights are not negotiable. Know that to protect yourself. Your rights as a retired gun owner are real and legally protected. The legal landscape around these issues is shifting faster than most realize. New rulings and regulations are moving through legislatures right now.